G'day viewers, how are you today? My name's Josh, I'm the host of this podcast, the Comprehensible Australian Podcast. I'm recording live from Bond Beach at my home in Melbourne. Now before I start, I want to remind you to please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, subscribe to my Spotify podcast, the Comprehensible Australian Podcast. Comment, share with your friends and family. You can now follow me on Instagram. I also made a TikTok account, so you can follow me on TikTok, on Spotify, etc. All the links are in my bio and on my website. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to improve your English. I can't count the number of times students have asked me about how they can improve their English. They attend classes, but they get stuck at a level. They can't really move to the next level and they really struggle in class. There can be many reasons for this, so here are some things you can do to increase your English competency. Piece of advice number 1, don't obsess over grammar. Yes, I know. Grammar is important and you learn grammar in English classes. It's what holds the sentence together when you're speaking, reading, writing and listening. But if you focus too much on grammar, then you're going to miss out on the meaning of the sentence. It's going to hinder your communication. Suppose you study English for a week and only do grammar exercises. Suppose it's the present perfect. So you're studying the present perfect, so you're doing present perfect exercises. I have eaten, I have drunk, I have slept, I have gone, I have been, I have put, I have studied. Oh my gosh, how are you going to feel? Are you going to feel motivated? Probably not. Are you going to feel bored? Probably. Are you going to feel demotivated? Definitely. Now, I'm not saying don't focus on grammar, it's still important, but you need to balance grammar with other important aspects. And that leads me to piece of advice number 2, read. Reading is the number 1 thing you can do to improve your English. When you read, you activate different parts of your brain to decode and try to understand the messages in the text. If you read something that's interesting to you, then that's even better. For example, maybe you're interested in psychology. Then read something about psychology in English. You may be interested in sport. Then read about sport in English. Do you see where I'm going with this? Reading is so important because you see all the different words in context. When you see a word in context that you don't know, the next time you read and you see the word again, that word is not going to be unfamiliar to you. It's going to be more familiar. Then maybe look it up in a dictionary. Use the context to figure out the meaning as well. When you look it up in a dictionary, there you go. You've learnt a new word. You'll see it again and again if you keep reading. This is exactly what I do to learn Russian and Ukrainian. If you've listened to my most recent podcast, Why I'm Learning Russian and Ukrainian, you'll know that I use a website called Link, and I do lots of reading and listening in Link. This helps to increase my vocabulary. A huge number of studies have shown that students who read extensively outside of the classroom have much better vocabularies than students who don't read at all. Don't feel stressed if you see a word that you don't know. That's completely normal. Just use the context to understand the bigger picture that the author is trying to say. So there's many things you can read. You can read on Link. I highly suggest that you make an account on Link. Or you can read at your local library. Most local libraries in Australia have very interesting books for ESL learners that are not too difficult to read. All of my best students read these books. And related to advice number 2 is advice number 3. Listen. Listening also activates many different parts of your brain, like reading. You activate grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation when you listen. And the logic is the same with reading. Students who have good vocabularies also listen a lot. You can listen to what interests you. Of course, you can listen to my podcast, the Comprehensible Australian Podcast, which you should be listening to. But of course, listen to different kinds of podcasts, not just me. There are so many YouTube videos and podcasts which are interesting for learners about diverse and interesting topics. There will definitely be something out there for you. You can ask a friend or a teacher to recommend something to you or help you find something interesting, or you can ask me. Put a message in the comments and I can help to recommend something to you. Advice number 4. Use English outside of the classroom. I have always told my students this, and it has always shocked them. The classroom is not the best place to learn English. Outside the classroom in your real life, that's the best place to learn English. Learning is both a social process as well as a cognitive process. You need to interact with other people to learn English. So use it with your friends. Use it at work. Use it at home. Go to a conversation club, or you can find people online. A really good website that I use to learn Russian and Ukrainian is italki. On italki, you can book lessons with teachers or other students, and you can find conversational partners, and you can maybe talk for 1 hour a day or 1 hour a week, whatever. There are literally thousands of teachers available on italki, including myself. To learn to talk, you must talk. You learn to talk by talking. So just get started, just talk. Advice number 5, do a little bit every day. Don't just study for your test. Don't cram for your test. You need to be studying for at least 1 hour every day. But studying doesn't need to mean just doing boring grammar drills or answering questions about John and Mary from a boring English grammar textbook. Studying or learning can be, for example, going to a conversation meet. It can be listening to a podcast, my podcast. It can be watching a movie or a TV series. It can be writing a diary. Just use English in any way for at least an hour every day. Don't just study and cram before your test. It's not going to be effective, and you're just going to forget everything. And that's the end of today's video. So in summary, number 1, don't obsess over grammar. Number 2, read. Number 3, listen. Number 4, use English outside of the classroom. And number 5, do a little bit every day. Now, before I end this video, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, comment and share with your friends and family. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, etc. Links are in my bio and on my website. See you next time.